I woke up to a miracle today. Triggers fade as I find my way. No judgment to lead astray. In this peaceful state I'll stay.
Welcome to A Course in Miracles in Practice. We're back for another exploration, and today we are spending time with Lesson 357.
Yeah, and this is such an essential lesson. It really speaks directly to that feeling a lot of us have right after you feel like you've genuinely made the call for help.
Yeah, we talked about this a bit yesterday. It's one of those honest stumbling blocks. I call on God, I ask for the miracle, and then, well, why do I still feel like something is hanging in the air?
Right. Why does it feel incomplete?
You know, what's interesting is this lesson doesn't really ask those questions again. It assumes they've been asked.
It does. It just assumes the call has been made, and it shifts our focus completely. It's all about the mechanics of the answer, where it actually lands, and maybe why we sometimes miss it.
So the mission for this exploration really is to get clear on that.
Yeah.
To pinpoint where God's answer is and understand why we keep looking for it everywhere else.
Yeah. This is about getting a really practical takeaway on why waiting for clarity can sometimes feel endless.
Okay, so as always, let's start by just reading the lesson. We'll go through it slowly.
This sounds good.
Lesson 357.
Truth answers every call we make to God, responding first with miracles and then returning unto us to be itself.
Forgiveness, which is the miracle's means, is therefore the means by which the answer to our call is given us.
Forgiveness removes the blocks which stand between us and the answer to our call and thus allows it to come to us.
The answer to our call is not something apart from us.
It is the Christ in us, our self, united with his Father, one with all creation.
The answer is our own awareness of this truth and the acceptance of it.
Forgiveness shows us how to offer miracles, and thus the answer to our call is made available to us.
God's Son is pointed out to us first in our brother. In him we see the Christ, and then we look on ourselves.
Forgiveness teaches us to see ourselves as we see our brother, and thus forgiveness brings us healing.
Behold his sinlessness, and be you healed. Okay, so let's unpack this. The structure is so deliberate, isn't it?
Yeah.
It starts with this statement. The call is answered, period. End of story.
Yes.
And then the rest of the lesson is just detailing how we receive it, which seems to be the part where we get tripped up.
The call is done. The answer is immediate.
It says the answer responds first with miracles and then returning unto us to be itself.
It's a shift in perception. That's it. Now that's the key distinction for me.
What do you mean?
Well, if the truth returned as a solution to an external problem, we'd still be stuck seeking outside ourselves. But because it returns unto us to be itself, it means the answer is inside our own mind. It's realized as the truth of who we are, ourself.
Which makes that next line just land with so much weight.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is therefore the means by which the answer to our call is given us.
Forgiveness is the miracle's tool, so forgiveness is the way the answer is given. You can't separate them. To receive the answer is to forgive.
So what is forgiveness actually doing here? The lesson says it removes the blocks.
And this is where the practice gets so practical. Because if the answer is already inside us, if it's the Christ in us, our self, then the only reason we're not experiencing that is because something is actively blocking our awareness of it.
Let's talk about that block, because I think this is where I, and probably a lot of people, tend to look in completely the wrong direction. We're expecting something from the outside.
We do. That's the common tendency, isn't it? We wait for a solution to arrive from out there. We expect something apart from us to change.
Because we think the problem is apart from us.
The answer to our call is ourself.
Okay, so if the answer is internal, and we're still waiting,
The block has to be an internal decision we're still making, something we're holding on to.
and that decision is almost always a judgment.
That's it. Forgiveness removes the judgment, which removes the block. But that feeling of waiting just keeps on going when we're still looking outward, instead of just noticing the subtle judgment we're still holding in our own mind. And because you're so convinced that conclusion is true, waiting for something external to fix it makes perfect sense. Of course you'd keep waiting if you believe your assessment of them.
So as long as that judgment stays put, the waiting continues. We expect relief, or a sign from the universe, or a change in circumstances.
Instead of just letting go of the judgment we're holding about the person right in front of us.
And that's where forgiveness comes in.
That's the moment.
The truth is just allowed to be itself without our filter on it.
Mm-mm. So the practical work here isn't about, praying harder or calling again with more passion. It's just noticing that persistent judgment.
Okay, so this brings us right back to those honest questions we were looking at yesterday, the things that can feel like real stopping points in the practice.
Yeah, and lesson 357 really gives us the clarification we need for all three of them. It's like the instruction manual for receiving the resolution you already have.
Right. So the first question was, if calling on God is enough, why does it still feel unfinished afterward?
And this is the most common one, I think. This frustration, you feel like I've done the work, I asked for help, I let go, and yet there's that nagging feeling that the job isn't quite done.
It's still hanging in the air.
Yeah, and the Course's insight here is so deep. It says the call is complete, truth answers every call. What feels unfinished is the reception. It doesn't mean the call failed or that God didn't hear you.
That unfinished feeling is actually the experience of the block still being in place. So the call is an internal act of willingness. And the answer is an immediate awareness. But the block, that judgment, is the ongoing act of unwillingness to accept the answer in its actual form.
So if we feel unfinished, we need to look again and ask, what conclusion am I still committed to here? If I still need to be right about their wrongness, I'm just actively maintaining the block.
Okay, so then the second question. If God has already answered, why does it still feel like I'm waiting?
Well, waiting is just the natural result of expecting the answer to come from outside.
We're looking in the wrong direction.
Completely. We're watching for a sign or a feeling of peace or a change in circumstances to tell us it worked.
We're looking outside the mind for an answer that the lesson just told us is the Christ in us, ourself. So, of course, if we keep looking outward, the waiting just becomes indefinite.
And that looking outward is so often directed at a specific person. We're waiting for them to apologize or to change or to finally get it.
And that wait, it's a choice in every moment. Okay, and the third question was, if forgiveness is the answer, why doesn't it feel like anything has changed yet? And this is a big one because I think we equate forgiveness with some huge emotional catharsis.
We do. It often doesn't announce itself that way.
It doesn't come with trumpets.
No. There's usually less pressure around the situation. You stop needing to be right about whatever the conflict was.
There's less urgency.
That's the big one.
I think that lack of urgency is maybe the most profound sign. When we're holding a judgment, there's this need to control the outcome, to fix things, to make the other person see.
And when forgiveness happens, that urgency just evaporates because we realize the true answer ourself is untouched by whatever is happening out there. That subtle feeling of release, of less weight on our shoulders, that shift is enough.
The lesson isn't asking us to feel peaceful first as a condition for change.
It's just asking us to let forgiveness take the place of judgment and then to trust the results that follow.
Okay, so this internal shift, this is why the lesson moves right from the nature of the answer to the role of our brother. It's all connected. We might wish we could just bypass the people who annoy us and go straight to connecting with the Christ in ourselves.
I think we all wish that sometimes, but the block to our awareness, it always shows up in our relationships. That's where we choose to judge. We condemn our brother, which reinforces the whole system of condemnation in our own mind, and then we feel the pain of that and wonder why we still feel unfinished.
The only way out of the loop is to break that perception of guilt. The healing of the self is completely dependent on the forgiveness given to the brother. We can't get there by ourselves. We don't have to worry about our own state of peace or our level of enlightenment or anything. The instruction is just to shift our perception of the person standing right there.
And that's how the lesson ends. Behold his sinlessness, and be you healed.
So lesson 357 really brings everything back to a single point, doesn't it? It just locates the answer, tells you where it actually is.
It does. If you are still waiting, if you feel that sense of incompletion, the place to look isn't outside. It's not at the circumstances. It's not even at your brother's behavior. It's inside, at the judgments you're still holding.
Forgiveness isn't something you do to get to the answer.
Forgiveness is the answer, or at least the means by which the answer, the awareness of yourself, is made available to you.
This gives us something so grounded to work with during the day. If you feel that familiar unresolved feeling, you can just pause.
Just pause and notice where judgment about someone specific is still running the show, still organizing your expectations.
It turns the waiting into something productive. It's a time for internal observation.
Instead of just yearning for external change, the answer is right here, right now. It's just waiting for that decision to let go of the block we've been preferring to hold.
Thanks for spending this time with us on this exploration.
If you would like to share a question or something you noticed while working with the lesson, you can email ACIM@theworldharmonyproject.org.
We'll be back with lesson 359 tomorrow.